The security breach in Punjab has everyone in a tizzy. The Prime Minister's cavalcade held up in the middle of Punjab, and the everybody from the BJP to the Congress and all the other opposition parties have jumped into the fray, and it's now seeming that it's becoming an election hot potato. But before we go into that, I want you to take a look at the visuals on your screen of the security breach in Punjab. These visuals are everywhere on your TV screens, mobile phones, tablets, everywhere. You've seen them for the last several days. Now, these visuals have become the brunt of back and forth between the ruling party and the opposition. And there's a political slugfest. There are two sides of the coin. BJP is alleging that this was a thought out carelessness by the Congress government in Punjab. The Congress is saying that there was no security breach and the BJP is deliberately fueling the controversy to capitalize on the upcoming elections. The reality of the matter is now the subject of a high level probe by a retired Supreme Court judge. So we're not getting into that right now because that, of course, the probe panel will determine who's to blame. We're not getting into the blame game, but what we will look at are the two countering political narratives being built on the issue in the run up to the state elections. I'm joined today by Ramesh Vinayak, the Hindustan Times executive editor, joining us from Chandigarh. We have Shantanu Gupta, political analyst and author of the Yogi Adityanath biography. We have Sunita Aron, senior resident editor of the Hindustan Times based in Lucknow. Dr. Mahendra Singh, assistant professor of the Gorakhpur University. And we have Sulkhan Singh, former DGP of the UP Police. Now, I will get into the politics of it all, but prima facie, let me first go to Sulkhan Singh, former DGP UP Police. Mr. Singh, prima facie, in your opinion, yes, there is a probe panel and headed by a retired Supreme Court judge, which will decide and figure out what went wrong and where it went wrong and who's to blame. But in your opinion, is it the Punjab police, the central agencies, or both? Who do you think is to blame for this issue that has occupied mind space of most Indians over the last several days?
Aditi, who is to be blamed will definitely be decided after inquiry.
G.
But the way politicians are interfering in police work, particularly in crowd controls, is a very serious cause of concern. Here
G.
also, I'm sure, I suspect that government had instructed police not to use force on the people who are blocking the road. Government has no authority to order police whether to use force or not to use force. CRPC authorizes only police officers present on the spot who can decide it. But the government gives unofficial instructions and local police officers are bound to follow it. In PM security case, I would not go into details as it is a secret exercise, but
G.
on every route and every contingency situations, some force is kept to disperse such type of crowds or mobs who may block the road or who may do any sort of disturbance. I'm sure Punjab police must have done it. Punjab police is a very professional police. They must have done that. But once government instructs them not to disperse them, not to use force, not to arrest them, what can they do? And if there is an inquiry, they will hold only police officers and the magistrate accountable because they are really authorized to act, but they are not allowed to act. That is the problem. And let me tell you, this is happening in every state. Unfortunately, this happened with the Prime Minister, so it is inviting attention of the nation. Otherwise, it is happening with me and you, everywhere, anywhere on the roads. Mobs are not being allowed to, police officers are not being allowed to deal with the mobs. That is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
So police officers not being allowed to deal with the mobs, you're saying that the government of the respective states need to take onus. Is that what you're saying, sir?
They must
Because,
be
but
honest
in
and
the
admit
case
that
of the prime
they
minister,
instructed police
in the
not
case
to
of
use.
in the case of the prime minister's security is the combined onus of the SPG as well as the state police, right?
Prime Minister's security is total responsibility of state police. Is PG responsible only for the proximate security of the Prime Minister, and the power and authority lies with the state. Public order is a state subject, and central forces have no role at all in total security system. They protect Prime Minister in a proximate way. They protect the body of the Prime Minister. Who approaches there, who comes within 100 yards, who comes within 200 yards, who blocks the roads, whether anybody is blocking the road, what mobs are collecting. It is state police who have intelligence and whether where with us to disperse them, arrest them, clear the roads. So it's totally state police is responsible for it, and not at all SPG or any central
So,
agency.
I hear you. I hear
They
you,
have
Mr.
no strength.
So, okay. So what I can understand from what Mr. Sultan Singh is saying, that this fiasco lies, the blame for this fiasco, in your opinion, lies squarely with the state government, which anyway you feel that of course there is a high level committee which is probing it. The results of that probe will no doubt be with us in several days. But right now, from what we hear you saying from your experience, and which is a very vast experience, that it's the state which is responsible for ensuring the clearance of roads, etc., the police in the state, and therefore the onus lies with the state government. Let me come to you, Ramesh. You're sitting in Chandigarh. You are, meeting and interacting with the political leaders in the state on a day-to-day basis. Uh, Sympathy or no sympathy, BJP has never had a base in Punjab as a serious party. So obviously, this breach is unlikely to benefit the BJP in Punjab at least from the face of it. So why so much of noise do you think is being built over this issue in Punjab?
Uh, Aditi, we'll have to look at Prime Minister's visit from two perspectives. One, why it was important. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was coming to Punjab after almost 2 years. I mean, last time he was here was for inauguration of Kartarpur Sahib corridor.
Ji,
And also, this was his first visit to Punjab since the repeal of these three contentious farm laws in November. And secondly, BJP had set it up as a kind of starting point for their election campaign. And Prime Minister was to inaugurate projects uh, worth 42,000 crore. He was to lay foundation stone of these projects, which are essentially, benefiting Punjab. So it was billed as a very important big show by BJP, and they had deliberately chosen Firozpur, which is an important city in Malwa region of Punjab. Now, as the things happened, it was raining on that day, so Prime Minister had to change his plan. Instead of flying from Bhatinda to Firozpur in a chopper, he decided to take the road. Now,
right,
we all know that, even after repeal of these farm laws, some of the farmer organizations were still in a protest mode in Punjab with basic two demands. One, they were seeking arrest of resignation of the Union Minister of State, whose son is involved in Lakhimpur Kheri violence. And secondly, they have been seeking compensation for about 750 farmers who died during this agitation. So the
right.
fact that these farmer organizations were in a protest mode, they were blocking some of the roads in Punjab, and they were kind of sitting on demonstration in front of deputy commissioner's office all across Punjab. So on that particular day, what happened was that these farmer organizations started blocking even the uh, cavalcades of BJP workers who were going to Firozpur. Now this became a sort of flashpoint a day before, and BJP is in charge of Punjab. Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, he spoke to Chief Minister, and even Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to Chief Minister, saying that please don't let the farmers block our workers who are going to Firozpur. And CM assured that we won't let that happen. Now, when Prime Minister decided to take the route to Firozpur at the last moment, uh, as far as I know, or all the information that we have, uh, it was not known to the farmer that Prime Minister would be coming from this road. So they had, blocked the road on their own. But, where the lapse really happened was, one, this was allowed to happen. This blockage was allowed to happen. Secondly, Prime Minister's cavalcade was not informed well in time that this road is blocked. So when Prime Minister's cavalcade reached just 50 or 100 meters away from that blockage, then did the security agency rely that we are stuck up, as the visuals are showing. So there was a breach, there's no doubt about that, breach of Prime Minister's security, which is a very, very sensitive subject. And also the fact is that there was a lapse, and I am even willing to say that lapse on part of Punjab police for not having anticipated this blockage. And now, Chief Minister Channi, when we spoke to him, he said that this was a spontaneous protest, that even after we had got the road cleared, farmers suddenly spilled over to the road. Now this is a matter of inquiry, that how soon did the farmer take to come to the road. So what I mean to say is that it is a breach, and the accountability would be fixed and must be fixed. But politically, I don't think that BJP stands to gain, at least in Punjab.
Okay, if not in Punjab, Sunita, BJP because this is happening just ahead of 5 crucial state elections. Ramesh says BJP unlikely to gain in Punjab. But Sunita, sorry, just give me 1 minute. I want to go to Shantanu first. Shantanu, many BJP leaders have alleged that this is a deep-rooted conspiracy to assassinate the Prime Minister. The opposition is saying that this is an election stunt. Both sound a little far-fetched. Would you agree with that? And then, Sunita, I'll come to you that it's not happening. It's not going to impact in Punjab. But what about the other states? And I'm going to come to you on that.
See, I'm quite uncomfortable the way our discussion is going. Ramesh ji for long tried to explain that farmers are agitating, so it's fine that they can come on Prime Minister's route. And we are still trivializing the topic, right? Prime Minister was blocked for 20 minutes, 10 kilometers away from Pakistan border. Pakistan artillery can attack easily 35, 40 kilometers. He was a sitting duck ask any security expert that a stationary person, how easy is to target. There are people around. He was blocked from the other side. What if there's a blockage from other side? And I think we all understand the popularity that Prime Minister enjoys. Even a stone on his cavalcade, on his vehicle would have created riots in the whole of country from Jammu Kashmir to Kerala. Even then, we are all trivializing it. And I'm shocked. We are all very senior journalists. And I saw how are you trivializing even before we starting a session. That, oh my God, it's a drama. And you are asking question, will it get political gains? Can we stop talking politics for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? This is the country which lost 2 prime ministers to security attacks, to terrorist attacks. And still we're saying, isse political fayda milega, nahi milega. Prime Minister was sitting duck for 20 minutes on a road, which is 10 kilometers from away from Pakistan. Is it not a threat enough? DGP was not part of the cavalcade. Chief Secretary was not part of the cavalcade. Chief Minister gave a very stupid alibi. He said, "मुझे corona हो रखा था." Next day, he's giving a press conference. Next day, वो गाड़ी में बैठ के interview दे रहे हैं और कह रहे थे मुझे तो corona, मेरे आसपास कुछ लोगों को corona हो रखा था. This is the only reason he's giving, and he has removed his DGP. First, he's saying, no, we are fine. Then he removes his DGP. He removes his SSP. The Kisan Sangathan is saying we got the cue from police. The Kisan Sangathan on record said we got the information from the police, and here Ramesh ji is defending. I don't know what kind of debate we are having. I'm very uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable.
I don't think Ramesh was defending. He did point out.
No, he was. He was just smartly articulate.
Ramesh, I'll let you speak for yourself, please.
Mr. Shantu, I don't think you have heard me right. I never defended that. I heard you
word by word, very correctly.
No.
How you guys were trivializing even before starting the session?
No, I'm not
trivializing it now.
I am not trivializing, and I am also not blowing it out of proportion as you are, right? Secondly,
okay, so for you, Prime Minister is sitting at 10 kilometers from Pakistan is no problem. That's fine. This should happen almost every day. In 2019, Aditi, there was a camera flash on Rahul Gandhi. I did 8 debates. There was a camera flash on Rahul Gandhi in 2019. People said sniper gun lag gayi unke upar. A camera ka laal batti lag gayi thi unke upar. And there were 9 to 10 debates I did.
I agree with you, Shantanu, I
can you
agree with
first
you
word?
on the Rahul Gandhi thing, but I think let's hear what Ramesh has to say. Yes,
Sir,
yes, Ramesh.
Mr. Shantanu, I think we should get our facts right. The place is not 10 minutes away from India-Pakistan border,
I
right?
said
I
10
live in
kilometers.
Punjab. No,
I said 10
please,
kilometers.
please, please don't, let's get the facts right first,
Okay,
first
tell
of
me
all,
how many
right?
kilometers? So how
Right?
many kilometers?
It
How
is
many
30
kilometers
kilo.
was
It
that?
is 30 kilometer from
Okay, so
India-Pakistan border.
Pakistan artillery range is easily 35 to 40 kilometers. Even then, my
Well,
arguments
I don't,
hold valid.
I don't want to get into this. Secondly, the farmer, nowhere have the farmer organization said that we were tipped off by the police about the
No,
prime minister's route.
there's statements available.
No,
Check.
there is no. If you can send me the statement,
I can show
I'll
you
correct
during the
myself.
debate.
Right. So let's get it right. We are not trivializing. Prime Minister's security is very, very important, sensitive subject, as
Good
I
that I
said.
made you say that.
Right? No, no,
But
I
he
already
said that
said that.
before, Shantanu, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
But he
He
was
said
saying
that
no, farmers
before.
are agitated. He was kind of
No, they are.
defending. Then we'll say,
He
okay,
was
I'm
giving,
not defending.
he was giving
I
in the
don't.
same breath
he
will
was giving
justify
both
every
sides.
I am
assassination.
not defending. I'm not defending Mr. Shantanu. Please listen to me and get your facts right. Prime, the fact that farmers are protesting in Punjab, it's a fact. We report it every day, right?
So
So
DGP
it's
will
not.
lie. So because farmers are protesting, DGP can lie. The route is sanitized. They will inform SPG, you can come, and then when Prime Minister comes,
Whether,
you will find videos
whether
where police
DGP
is having
discussion is going in a different direction.
tea
Can
with
I please
farmers.
come in? Can I please come in here? The discussion is going in a different direction. What actually happened is the subject of a high-level inquiry now, Shantanu. So let that inquiry committee come back and give, because if it was not a big issue, the Prime Minister's security breach, if it was not a big issue, the Supreme Court would not have intervened. There would not be an inquiry panel set up.
That's
There
what
would
I'm
not
trying to
be.
say. Let's not trivialize it.
Yes, it is not. It is not a small issue. It is a huge issue. But when and I'll come back to my question for you, which was the politics of it all. When when the BJP, or let's say the ruling party, goes out all out and says that this was a conspiracy to assassinate the prime minister hatched in Delhi somewhere, and that is maybe a little tad far-fetched, perhaps. So is the assumption by the opposition parties that that this is all a stunt that is being pulled to sort of sway the elections and to gain sympathy of the voters. Frankly, Prime Minister Modi, as we were pointing out just before the debate, is quite popular on his own. He doesn't need this as a stunt. So both sides are a little far-fetched, don't you think? And I'd like your opinion on that, on the politics of it, not on actually what happened.
So Aditi, in the
Yeah,
Aditi, I think in the same sentence you have contradicted yourself. You said the high-level inquiry is needed, and the same sentence you said that this was a plan to assassinate him. You're almost trying to rule that out. You're almost trying to rule that out. You are almost
no,
trying.
I'm not ruling it out. I'm saying that both sides
Allow me to
seem a
speak.
little
Right. No. You allowed a monologue to Ramesh. Yet, try to look neutral. Right.
Sure. Please.
Yeah. Thank you. So in the first sentence you said there is a high level inquiry. In the second sentence you ruled out no, assassination is not a possibility because Aditi is saying. Well, let the inquiry happen, because a prime minister is a sitting duck for 20 minutes. As per my information, 10 kilometers from Pakistan border. As per Rameshji information, 30 kilometers. But anyway, in the range of Pakistan's artillery, it's not an assassination plan as per you. By some logic that you have, maybe you hold some degree in.
Do you believe that the issue is an emotional issue and will impact the outcome of the elections in Punjab? That is what we want to talk about. Yes, it is important. The security breach is very, very. It's a dangerous thing that happened, especially in a country where two sitting prime ministers have been assassinated. No one can take that lightly. Definitely no one is taking that lightly. Yes, it is a security breach. It is being probed by a high-level panel. And sure, the results of that panel, the probe results will come to us shortly, or whenever they come to us with the final assessments. But as of now, do you think that this security breach is going to impact the outcome of the state elections in any way? And that's, as a political analyst, I'd like you to comment on that.
So first of all, I'll say the same thing. I'm very uncomfortable that assassination attempt or a security breach, whatever the inquiry comes to, that we should link to and analyze in any political framework. If BJP gain, if BJP doesn't gain, if Congress gain, if Congress doesn't gain, I think I don't even want to comment on that. It was Prime Minister's security breach, period. Inquiry should be done, and let's not try to defend it by saying no, ये तो farmer का strike था, ये तो 30 किलोमीटर दूर है, अगर 40 किलोमीटर दूर होता तो ठीक होता. Let's not try to defend it. It was a Prime Minister's speech. Let's not even try to analyze this politically. It's Prime Minister's security speech. That's it. Let's try to analyze that.
Fair enough, Shantanu. Your point is taken. Let me go to Dr.
Thank
Mahendra
you.
Singh. Dr. Singh, assistant professor at Gorakhpur University, a political analyst. Dr. Singh, your views on this subject.
No, definitely, this is a very serious security breach, and the Supreme Court has set up an inquiry under the former Supreme Court judge, and we definitely, this is an incident which has happened, and obviously this is going to impact the political scenario also. Well, we can't say that this is not a serious thing. This is very, very serious. And as Shantanuji has pointed out, within the this Prime Minister was struck within the on the border area district. So definitely this is a very serious incident. But this is definitely, in my view, going to impact the politics also, because listen, the 5 states are going for the elections, and the Prime Minister is very, very popular leader across the country. And as Shantanu has pointed out, that his popularity from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So definitely it is going to impact the political situation, not only in Punjab but also in the Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand and other states. Because number one, BJP is basically trying to come. BJP has been a second player to Akali Dal in Punjab. Now BJP for the first time trying to come into the political scenario of Punjab, and now they are going to. They have shown this intentions to enter into alliance with Captain Amarendra Singh, because he has a very strong views on national security as well as in Pakistan, which is the basically BJP's ideas, BJP's view. Then BJP is also trying to have some alliance or some understanding with Sukhdev Singh Dhinsa, who's Sanjukt Akali Dal, his party. So BJP in Punjab is trying to I've heard that I was reading somewhere that there are sources who are telling that they are trying to contest at least 50 seats out of 117, and try to make inroads into Majha and Doab region. And with the Captain Amarendra Singh, they are trying to use him in the Malwa region, which is the strong base from where this the entire the farmers' protest were concentrated. And the Dhinsa, they are aspiring to use him in Sangrur. So definitely, it is going to. This is an incident which is very unfortunate, but it is going to. And as an Indian, we are emotional people, and as I said, that Prime Minister is a very, very popular leader. His popularity among all the sections of the society, cutting across the caste or class. So it is going to have impact in Uttar Pradesh also, as well as in other states which are going for the polls.
Okay, Sunita, sir, I'll come back to you. Sunita, what impact on Uttar Pradesh? Dr. Mahendra Kumar has said that there is going to be an impact. What sort of an impact do you see in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, these regions specifically? Because this is primarily, BJP is obviously making a lot of noise over the issue, and rightly so. They're making all the Supreme Court is now going to look into this issue, not the Supreme Court, sorry, the probe panel is going to look into this issue and come up with a thing. But what do you think is going to be the impact as far as UP is concerned?
Aditi, first thing, I think Prime Minister doesn't belong to BJP. He's a Prime Minister of the country. And why Prime Minister? I think every politician and every individual, their safety is very important. And that of the Prime Minister, definitely of the Chief Ministers, and I think every candidate will be contesting elections. So, having said so, two things that I think will be covered by the pro panel, I hope so. One, today in this era of technology, if there is any hindrance, any obstruction, any crowd on way, that you get to know either by GPS or other apps. I'm very sure the teams would have known, or it was easier to know, okay, yes, there are some people who are agitating. Now, regarding the security, I feel that because Punjab, there is no harm in admitting it that the farmers are agitated. This has been going on, and they had certain demands which the Prime Minister accepted, and some are still pending. So there is some anger over the delay that is happening. So more care should have been taken while planning his trip and everything. So whatever happened is a matter of concern for the country. I feel not only for the BJP or for one or two people, it's for the country, that if they are not safe, then who is safe in this country? This is how I look at it. Now, coming to the politics of it, who's doing it? I think the Congress, one blunder that they did was they should have first condemned the incident very strongly.
Absolutely.
The entire opposition in one voice should have condemned it, because these are issues which are raised at the global level also. What picture are we presenting to the world, that we don't care for our people, we don't care for our leaders? I'm not going into whether he's popular or he's not popular. Point is, even if a person is not popular, he's not supposed to be, this type of security breach should not be there even for that person, even if he's not popular. So I think the opposition, before raising their points, they should have first condemned it in very, very strong words, that what has happened, this country has lost so many leaders, they've lost the prime ministers, we can't afford to do that. Politics apart, there is no way anybody can even try find excuses. Well, I'm justifying is a would be a very, very wrong word, but trying to find excuses for what happened now. But
Or
this
saying that
leads,
there was no security breach at all, as Channi
yeah,
said. There
that
was
is
no
wrong. They should
security.
have said, I think the Punjab government should have
Absolutely.
said that we are sorry for what has happened. The Prime Minister was a guest in our state. We will look into the aspect of security breach. I'm very sure Channi would have earned some brownie points there. Now, coming to the politics of it and the drama part of it, is BJP not doing it? Who's going around temples and praying for them? Do they pray when others are killed? So, who's doing politics right now? I think everybody is doing politics over it. But whether this concern, whether this fear, whether this issue, it's will actually turn into votes, I have my doubts about it, because people are looking at it as a national issue, where a prime minister's security has been breached, not as a political issue and a poll issue on which they have to vote. So I think these are two different issues. It should be kept separately. There is no reason for any sympathy. There can be anger, but according to me, while it is a national issue, something which I think the pro panel will look into it, how it happened, why it happened. But politically, the drama will be over in few days, and I think everybody would be back to the same. There are other
I
issues on which people will be voting for. I don't think so. This will be there.
I agree that state elections in this country are normally people normally vote on local issues, and in the national elections, yes, they are national issues. But going by Prime Minister Modi's popularity, really, this as Dr. Mahendra Kumar was pointing out, that there is a possibility that there is a certain level of sympathy that is being built up, that will build up. Yes, Dr. Mahendra Kumar, you want to come in there?
Yes. A similar incident happened in 2013 when seven bomb blast took place in Gandhi Maidan in Bihar, and the similar debate happens, and Prime Minister was safe he was not prime minister at that point of time, but he was prime ministerial candidate. And the BJP in Bihar got 31 seats. NDA, BJP got 22 seats and 6 Paswan's party and 3 Upendra Kushwaha's party. So definitely this is and at that point of time, the Prime Minister Modi was a prime ministerial candidate of the BJP. So and JDU, which was ruling dispensation in Bihar, they just got 2 seats. So such incident do impact the political scenario, have the potential. I'm not saying it is actually going to happen, but it has potential to impact the political outcomes, as happened in Bihar.
Aditi, it is a discussing point. Everybody is talking about it. But if you just observe slightly, now it is also subsiding. The discussion is also coming down. And the elections are still far off. Whether the emotions will be so strong that people will forget other issues and will vote for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right now, it's
Modi ji gets, as such, Modi, as we all have been saying in unison, that he is the most popular leader. And if I talk about Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, he's the person who's going to, he's in the forefront. He's the face of the election for the BJP. So if they're getting, say, last time they got about 41% votes, how more it will add to it. I don't think so. It is so much of a political issue. It's more of an issue which people are concerned about. They are concerned about the security of their own security, the security of the leaders. If Prime Minister's security can be compromised, then who else can be safe in the
absolutely country? And maybe the Congress is doing a disservice to itself by calling this the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Baghel, he called the incident an election publicity stunt. I mean, if the Congress itself is actually talking in two voices on this issue, because there are leaders within the Congress like Manish Tiwari and Rajya Sabha member Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who have called for fixing accountability for this lapse.
But there is a security lapse, certainly, because the technology helps you to know where the problem
but
is.
As I said, and let me come to you, Ramesh, with that. What in your opinion, how do you feel that the Congress is speaking in two tones as far as this incident is concerned? Now there was one immediate response that there was no security lapse from the Punjab government, and then now and then they go ahead and form a probe panel. If there was no lapse, why form a probe panel? You are on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, sir. I think you'll have to unmute yourself and then talk.
Can you hear me now, Aditi?
Yes, can hear you. Please.
Aditi, there is no doubt that the Channi government's initial response was not what it ought to be. Initially, Chief Minister said that there were no security lapse, which I think he jumped the gun. But he was quick to make amends, and he admitted that if there is any security lapse, we are ready to order an inquiry, which he did. He set up a two-member probe panel headed by former judge of High Court and senior Punjab police official. So the Congress also tried to do politics in the beginning, but then they realized that it is a very serious national security issue, which they can't play the politics with. So I guess that this Congress did err, in its initial response, and these diversion devices, which we heard from Delhi, trying to read politics into it, that the BJP prime minister didn't go there because there were empty chairs in Firozpur. I don't think that was correct assessment to make, because in any case, because of heavy rains, the chairs, people didn't turn up. But having said that, BJP has also tried to politicize the whole issue. We all know this. And my own considered view is, I disagree very politely with other panelists. It will not have any impact in Punjab. This issue has an expiry date. It will blow over, provided the accountability is fixed and we know what were the lapses, who were responsible for this, and they are punished for this. So the matter ends there. This is my assessment.
Okay, matter ends there in your assessment. No impact on elections. Shantanu, would you agree? No impact on because that's been your thought earlier also when you spoke that this is not a political issue, but there is politics being done from both sides on this particular issue now, despite the fact that there is a probe panel which is now looking into it. And yes, we are all agreeing with you that was a very serious security lapse, and with the Supreme Court of India.
See, Aditi, if this incident, a similar incident would have happened without any elections in the offing, I'm sure the
Yeah.
reaction of BJP would have been the same. They're not, because it's Prime Minister's security. So I'm saying BJP reacting to Prime Minister's security breach is a drama for someone. I know. I welcome to their comments. Sunita was saying that why BJP is doing puja around it, and that's very normal. घर में एक बच्चे का accident होने से बच जाता है, तो घर में पूजा होती है. So a lot of people are praying because Prime Minister is super popular. Maybe for some of you, he might not be popular in your own imaginary alternate world, but he is a super popular guy. And as I told you, even a stone on his cavalcade would have created ruckus in the whole country. So they just puja ki bhai aram se ho gaya, kuch nahi ho paya. So how that's a drama. And I'm sure BJP would have reacted. A lot of Modi fans would have reacted in a similar fashion if there would not have been any election in the offing, to my understanding.
Let me end this discussion on a rather serious note and maybe a non-political note. Do you believe that this incident, and let me start with you, Shantanu, your views on this. Do you believe that this incident has hurt the federal polity of this country like never before, considering that here was the Prime Minister of the country going to another state to address a rally or whatever, to announce some programs for the people of that particular state. Uh, he's on his way. There is a security breach. Both the central, his SPG as well as the state government were supposedly responsible for this. This sort of a breach happened. It should never have happened. Then there is this ugly war of words that breaks out that you're doing a publicity stunt. This is an election stunt, says Congress. There was no security breach, and the BJP says that this was a uh, you know conspiracy hatched in Delhi to assassinate the prime minister. Do you believe that this incident has sort of hurt the federal polity of this country like never before?
See, not only this
Shantanu?
incident, this incident, because after 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his popularity has put a lot of political parties on the margins, right? So we have seen how Mamata Banerjee did not allow a lot of choppers to land, how Mamata Banerjee did not allow CBI to operate properly in the state, how Mamata Banerjee even did not give the data for PM Kisan, because she thought, oh, Modi will become popular if the Kisans of the farmers of West Bengal will get money. So the multiple occasions, Jharkhand Chief Minister, after a talk with CM, he tweeted that कि काम की बात तो नहीं करी, बस मन की बात कर ली, right? And then this incident. So I'm saying just maybe envying, maybe fearing the popularity and the electoral wins of Narendra Modi under Narendra Modi of BJP. Lot of these states have reacted in a very bizarre fashion, and that does hurt the federal fabric of India.
Uh, uh, Sunita, your views on that?
Aditi, I just wanted to ask. I'm joining you in asking question. It may be very far fetched, but can the government go after the supposing elections have been announced? Supposing the Supreme Court report says yes, there was a breach of security, and the state government was responsible for that. Can the government go in between? I really don't know what is the constitutional position. Ramesh will be able to tell. Does it happen or no?
It's a very interesting question. Ramesh, you want to come in on that?
Sunita, I'm not clear about the constitutional part of it, but I don't think that's going to happen. That even if the state government is blamed for it, that the BJP would invoke Article 356, dismiss the state, I don't think that's going to happen. That will be a bit too far-fetched because we are very close to the election.
I said so. I said so. It looks very far-fetched.
Yeah.
But otherwise, as for the popularity of the leader, everybody is talking about it. Nobody is disputing it, and nobody is even thinking that nobody is trivializing it. I don't agree with Shantanu. And as for the drama part, if the Congress did something, the Congress and the opposition did not play their cards well, in the sense that they should have condemned it. The BJP also went overboard, and the way they went around with your Madhya Pradesh chief minister and other chief minister, there's no harm in praying for anybody, but the way initially it happened, and after that the dust seems to have settled down. From both sides, people try to raise it as an issue, but I think it remains a national issue. It remains an issue of concern to everybody, and not only to the BJP. I would like to make it very clear to the panelist here.
All right. So it's a national issue, an issue of concern, a serious security breach. I think let's end it on this note. But Sunita does not definitely feels that this is not going to have much of an impact on the election, and so does Ramesh and Shantanu. But Mahendra Kumar believes that yes, there is going to be. So you still, after hearing the views of your other panelists, would you still stick to your guns and say that there is going to be an impact on the election results as far as this particular issue is concerned?
Definitely, but you can't quantify how much impact it is going to have.
Absolutely.
But definitely it is going to have an impact, because
have an
this
impact
is
in favor of the ruling party or the opposition.
Definitely in the favor of BJP, because this is a very, very serious issue. Nothing happens, so we can think that it is a trivial issue, or it can't catch up the public imagination. But this is a very serious issue, especially among the followers of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And they are going to raise it at every forum, at every level, from local booth through to Jila Astar to Mandal Astar, that the Congress government can't provide security to our Prime Minister. So how you can trust them? So
Mahendra Singh ji, so far, BJP is also not making it an election issue. So far. Maybe tomorrow I can't say.
I am not saying that I don't know whether
I
BJP
don't
will
think anybody is
try to make it
deliberately
an issue
making
or
it an
not.
election issue.
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying this one incident has happened, and whether that incident, that is a very serious incident, and it was almost a threat to our Prime Minister, a life threat to our Prime Minister. That incident itself is going to impact the public sentiments. We can't quantify how much.
What he's basically yeah. So what you're basically saying, sir, is that it is not that anybody will try and make it an election issue, but it has already become an election issue, in your opinion, whether or not political parties are trying to make it or not. Because of the emotion, I think it's because of the popularity of the Prime Minister and the emotions attached with him of a lot of people who support him and his followers. I think that makes an issue.
Aditi, I have objection to it. Even if you don't support him, you don't want anything like this to happen. Even people who don't support BJP does not want. Nobody wants anything like this to happen to PM.
But if you, yes, I agree with you, Sunita. I'm saying that the emotions, on the elections, the emotions attached to the people who support him, for that reason I'm saying that. But anyway, just to round it off, and just to ask Mr. Sulkhan Singh here, you've been quiet for a while, sir, and I'm sorry that it became a very political discussion, but I do want to ask you before we go, in your professional career spanning decades, have you seen anything like this before, this kind of a security breach for the Prime Minister of the country? Mr. Sulkhan Singh, can you hear me? You'll have to unmute your mic, sir. Your mic is muted. Yeah. Please speak now.
I
Please
can't
speak
hear
now.
you really.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now? All right. I don't think he can hear us, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I think this was a very interesting discussion. We will keep coming back to you with more every day. We're going to be live here at 6 p.m. in the evening with the hot button topic related to the elections. Today was our first episode of Pol Bazi, but stay tuned to Hindustan Times, and we will keep bringing you more updates every single day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.